Good morning, everyone. This new video is titled Worms Speak of God, and in this video, I am going to talk about how creation or nature can speak to us of God, help us to know Him, and even to pray. And for this, I am going to use a very specific example based on my own experience. Personally, the strongest experience I have had so far of how creation or nature can speak to us about God has been with an earthworm. An earthworm, you may ask? Yes, an earthworm. After saying this, many people may think that I am crazy or that I am saying heresy, because the fact that the animal that speaks to me most about God is an earthworm may seem insignificant, ironic, or even disrespectful. However, if we think about this for a second, the fact that God can manifest His glory in an earthworm actually says a lot about Him. And now I am going to explain it. When I was studying biology at university, we had a subject called animal anatomy, and the practical sessions for this subject consisted of opening and dissecting different animals to be able to see firsthand the different systems: the digestive system, the nervous system, the circulatory system, etc. The first of these practical lessons consisted of dissecting an earthworm. Well, the truth is that I wouldn't repeat these practical lessons because I felt very sad for the animals, but ironically, opening that worm impressed me so much that from that moment on, I started to feel a deep respect for them. And what was it that I saw in that worm that makes me say these crazy things? Because when you see an earthworm in the street, the first thing you feel is rejection, and the farther away you can walk from it, the better. But actually, this amorphous, slimy mass that nobody likes, that disgusts everybody, is actually a masterpiece of engineering. It is much better than the best mobile phone, computer, or space rocket that will ever be designed. When I opened the worm, the first thing I saw was a bunch of super thin, super tight little tubes in a really tiny space, and yet they were all perfectly ordered, perfectly placed where they were supposed to be, and perfectly fulfilling the role they were supposed to fulfill, which is the role of giving life, which, by the way, is a role that we have not yet managed to replicate. On one side, I found the digestive system. On the other side, the circulatory system. This little black, this little black tube that went from one side of the worm to the other, and which had no more and no less than 5 little hearts beating day and night without rest. And on the other side, the nervous system, a white little thread along the entire length of the worm, which in the head made a little circle to form the brain. This little thread and all the others were so thin that they looked like if they could disintegrate in the blink of an eye. But all working and all giving life. And all this in a space 1 centimeter wide. Think about it, 1 centimeter. Isn't it incredible? Reflecting over time, I realized how much love and care has been put into that humble little being, how lovingly it has been created. In just that centimeter of space, we can discover a patience, a care, a gentleness with such thin little tubes, a delicacy, an affection, a love so great that it would fill the whole earth. But the most surprising thing is yet to come. This marvelous and perfect work of art and love is hidden in this elongated and unpleasant mass that is the earthworm. The earthworm is such a humble animal that Not content with crawling on the ground, it also lives underground, where no one can discover the treasure of love it hides. This can be compared to a watchmaker who builds a watch using gears of pure gold and precious gems. And once he has built the entire watch mechanism, instead of putting a case on it that is just as precious, or at least lets you see the work put into the gears, he instead grabs it in a case of cardboard or the cheapest plastic he has. Finally, not content with having hidden his precious work in this way, he buries the watch in a garden. What sense does this make? What does this tell us about the creator of the watch, the creator of the worm, about God? That he is crazy? Yes, a God crazy with love. A God who has so much love to give that in the smallest and humblest of his creatures, he has already given everything. But this God is not only crazy with love, he is also a humble and modest God who does not create a work of art to make it known and to be praised by everybody, but he creates it to be a work of art in itself, and he hides it in an envelope of poverty. That earthworm is not worth for what others see in it, who see nothing, not even for the role it fulfills in the earth, although it actually plays a very important role. But none of that really gives it any value. The value of this earthworm comes from the love that is placed in it, from the love with which it has been created, from how loved it is by the love with capital letters. And now let's think, if all that love is capable of being discovered in a poor and miserable earthworm, of which there are hundreds like it, how much more love will God have put in us, in each one of us, unique and unrepeatable in the whole history of the universe? Just to discover or feel the love that God has put in that worm would be enough for us. But the fact is that the love that God has for you, and only for you, transcends the limits of the universe. Think about it. The God of the universe, the creator of everything, if you were not here, he would cry. He wouldn't know what to do without you, because of how much he loves you. Here is a phrase that sums this up very well and which Jesus said to Saint Teresa of Avila. Just to hear you say once that you love me, I would create the universe anew. Just to hear you say once that you love me, I would create the universe anew. With this, we can discover that God loves us like crazy, that we are an infinite gift for Him, and that He, God, the Creator of everything, all powerful, almighty, would give His life for us. And actually, He has already given it on the cross with Jesus. I hope that now, every time we see an earthworm, we will remember God and also remember how much precious we are to Him, how much He loves us. May the worms remind us what a precious treasure we are to God, what an inexhaustible treasure of love is hidden in our apparent poverty, and may this way of contemplating creation lead us to want to know God more, to want to love Him more, to praise and glorify God with our body, soul, and spirit, with our whole being as children of God. And that's all. Thank you very much.